Hello and what is up, guys? Rye here and welcome back to some more automation and BeamNG.Drive. Today we're building a ute. Not just any ute, this is going to be like the top of the line performance ute based in the year 2000 because, you know, what better way to celebrate a new millennium than having the world's fastest ute. That's what we're going for today. We're going for just pretty much a muscle car that's obviously a ute. That's going to be incredibly fast. So we're going to go with a steel panel material for now, maybe. I mean, we can go for like partial aluminum, but steel, it's going to be a heavy boy. That's okay. Steel, monocoque chassis, because remember, this is based on a car platform, basically. AHS steel, I think, for the chassis material, so still pretty heavy, but nothing too crazy expensive. The price, we're shooting for around probably, what, $50,000 or so. It's going to have, you know, obviously a massive V8, because what else would you have in a ute? Now this is the question here. We can go for a double wishbone. We could go double wishbone front, multi-link rear, which is a little fancy, I think. But you know what? We can go for just a solid axle rear as well, or maybe even just double wishbone. Double wishbone. That's possible. It's a little bit fancy, I think, but we'll go with it anyways. It's got to have some sort of handling capability, you know, capabilities. Yeah, capabilities. We're gonna go with, of course, a V8 engine. We can go for a 90 degree or a 60 degree. We'll go for a 90 degree, a big old cast iron push rod V8 engine, because what says America or Australia like a massive engine? And then, yeah, we're going to have, what size are we going for? Maybe like a 6.4 liter, 6.5, a 6.6. Like, I want an engine that's not really used in anything. A 6.6 liter engine sounds like an engine that could be in this big beast. We're going to go for a non-flat plane crank. Go just all cast for now. This is going to be a naturally aspirated vehicle. I want it to be a pretty fast 0 to 60. I'm hoping for like the low fours. But also a very high top speed. And we'll see what we can get. But we're definitely going to do our best to get like near 200 miles an hour in automation, I think. Multi-point, twin, and we'll go for performance. We can go for race. Premium fuel is needed, though. The long tube headers, dual exhaust. And we're going to give it a reverse flow, and then... do we want a straight through? No, we'll go for two straight through. No, okay, we'll go for a straight through and a reverse flow, I think, for mufflers. So we can do that, I think, yeah. 2.5-inch exhaust. Okay, the bigger exhaust, it's liking that. So we'll go 3-inch exhaust. 3-inch exhaust is fine. We'll lower the ignition timing, increase the fuel for now. And we'll increase the red line to about 6,000, honestly, is kind of low. 390 horse is an absolutely great starting number, I think. And we'll increase it to just light-duty Ford strip, I think. 6,500 RPM sounds very reasonable, I think. Sure. We'll increase the cam profile as well. Help mitigate some of that valve float. We'll increase the quality because I don't want to spend too much time. But even right now, 411 horsepower, 370 torque in the year 2000, which is pretty good. Like, this is Lamborghini powers of levels of horsepower probably for the year 2000, or Ferrari, Lamborghini for sure. We can even just crank up the ignition timing. Compression ratio already like 11 to 1. If you can do that, 11 to 1 is quite high. 400 pound-feet of torque, 440 horse sounds like a pretty good number. We're sort of just rooting our graph there. So 440 horse and 406 pound-feet of torque, that seems like a reasonable number. And like the torque curve is pretty good too, I think, for now. We'll leave it for now. We'll start the engine, just sort of hear how it sounds, just get a feel for it. We can actually get a bigger exhaust though. Or bypass this valve. Yeah, bypass valves for bigger exhaust. That's the question, I guess. Okay, I'm actually starting to get... We can do some more. Even though it's making use. Can we do... Well, we'll do this. Can we get even numbers? Okay, it's liking that even more. We'll do that even more. So 450 or so horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque. I do like my even numbers, but we can live without it. We'll start it up. Hear how it sounds. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I mean, it's 47 loudest. It is quite quiet. We could probably make it a little bit louder. We can go for... I mean, we need a catalytic converter. We need one. Like, this is the top of the line performance model. Maybe it doesn't need a second muffler. That's a little bit more aggressive. I like that. And look at this weird torque dip. I don't like that though, but we can live with it probably. 460 horsepower. Ooh, that's a fair bit. 460 horse, 425 torque. And of course, we're gonna stick on this. We're on this body. We'll stick on this body and make sure it's all there. Our 1995 pickup truck in quotations. Of course, rear-wheel drive. Now, it's gotta have a 6-speed manual, because what else are you gonna use? Automatic lock-in disc for now. I might change that. Sports compound, and we need some thick tires for this thing. I mean, honestly, 255s are pretty thick for the time. 265s are even better. 285s are massive. In the front, we'll make it a little bigger. So 245s front, 285s rear, just massive rubber on this beast. Aluminum wheels, because what else would you use? And just thick, huge tire diameter. What, 17, 18 inch? 18 inches large. It's definitely on one of the large. That's definitely a massive wheel for the time. But this is the top of the line. Solid 6 pistons and 4 pistons. That sounds reasonable. This might be a heavy beast. Fully clad it is, and we'll do a 2-seater sport with a standard cassette, standard CD. I mean, you know, CD player. You might as well have the CD player. You might as well get that. And then hydraulic power steering, and the best of the best for traction aids and safety. And we'll go for just like a progressive and just a not off-road. We'll go for a semi-active dampers, sway bars, progressive spring system. 3,600 pounds, so it's pretty heavy. I mean, you know, for modern standards, it's quite light. For 2000s, it is probably average weight, I would say. Maybe even a bit light, though. It's for a big old ute. 0-60 is kind of slow, and so is top speed. Okay, we can go way higher in the top speed. Okay, that's why our top speed can be much higher. 340 kilometers an hour. 0-60 in the 4.9 seconds. 340 or 350 kilometers an hour is what we're shooting for. How much miles? We got that's 200. Oh my gosh. That's 217 miles an hour at 350 kilometers an hour. So we're already doing over 200 miles an hour. And 0-60 in 5 seconds, I think we're only limited by rubber, to be honest, because we just have wheel spin. I think we'd probably go for like, the lock and diff is going to help us with that 0-60 the absolute most. But man, oh man, is that a great, that's a great zero. Like, we can even go a little bigger. I wish we can widen the whole fender instead of just this flare. We are limited by traction, which kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? 3,600 pounds, you're 65.2 seconds. We could get a bit better, but that's okay for now. Like, our top speed is still over 200 kilometers an hour. Like, in the year 2000, like what competition does this thing have in comparison to utes? This is probably not is this the most powerful? This is the most powerful ute for sure of the time. Not the most powerful ute ever, but you know, it's gonna be a dang good looking ute as well, I think. What's the price though? Look at that, $41,000 in 2012 dollars. That's like what, $50,000 today, $60,000 today, $50,000 for a whopping 460 horsepower. You know, would you rather have a Mustang GT, which, you know, is faster 0-60. They do it in the low 4s, and we do it in the, like, you know, the low 5s. We can probably get it down, yeah. So we can do it in the high 4s. But we can do 200 miles an hour. 200 miles an hour. We'll limit it to 340, and we'll change the gearing a bit more. So we got some pretty long gears in this thing. 0-60 4.9 sounds appropriate. Similar to probably a Ferrari, or probably a bit slower than a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. For sure a bit slower than a Ferrari or a Lamborghini at the time. I'll increase the quality on the rubber just a little bit too. And then increase the quality on the drivetrain just a little bit. Help us with that 0-60 and stuff. 52,000 or 56,000, which is honestly not bad. We're gonna raise it up just a bit. It is sport tuned, but it's gonna sit a little bit higher than what it's doing. 4.7. You know what? I'll take it. That's gotta be similar to like a what do we have here? 2000 Lamborghini Diablo 0-60. What does it do? What can a Lamborghini Diablo do? 0-60, okay, 3 point, for Diablo VT, 0-60, 3.4. Okay, you know what, I take that back, we're not as fast as Lamborghini at all. But we still have, like, a reasonable top speed. What's Lamborghini Diablo's top speed? 325 kilometers an hour! We've got a higher top speed than a Lamborghini Diablo. 2000, for a quarter of the price. Wow, either this body is very aerodynamic, which it is super aerodynamic. Wow, 0.26 is a load coefficient of drag. That's probably the same as the Lamborghini Diablo, if not lower. So what we're going to do is we're going to design this beast. I just punched the mic. That's okay. We're going to design this beast, take it into BeamNG.Drive, and I just want to see what numbers we can actually put down. Alright guys, so we are building our performance ute from the 2000s. I guess at this point it's pretty much a super ute, but that's okay. So first things first, I want to start off with the headlights. Like always, I am taking some design elements from another ute that I built probably a few months back. It was a 1960s, I think, era muscle car, but it was a ute obviously. I am taking the grille design basically, and just the headlight design is slowly being worked towards that as well. We are working on a power bulge for the hood now, just a few details here and there. We have pretty much 2 grills, one on the other side of the top of the car, like the front where the headlights connect to. We have some horizontal slats going through there. I am working on the color now, fiddling around with yellow, red, blue, and just seeing which color I want to end up with. We stuck on red for now, but I do change it later on. I added some turn signals and a front sort of splitter, and then a side skirts on both the sides. The door handle is added. The mirrors are black. And I think we're working on the taillights now, making just a very basic taillight shape that I think looks good, looks clean. I did look at, like, while I was building this car, I was looking at a 2000 Holden Commodore, just for some, you know, Australian design input and stuff, just to see what that sort of looks like. We have the Toro badge written in chrome, similar to my previous Toro Ute vehicle. You can check, again, that video out in the description down below. Adding, pretty much building my bottom fascia out of a few different body fixture features and stuff like that in events. Adding massive dual exhausts, and just tweaking the gearing. I tweaked the suspension a bit. I'm working on other things, I think just tweaks around the hood, around the door, on the side. Adding a 202 badge, because you guys see I've actually chosen the name now. We are doing the same name as my previous Ute, the Toro. Then we got the GT. In this case, this is the GT 202, and 202 stands for approximately 202 horsepower, or 202 miles an hour. So this thing can do around 202 miles an hour. Not exactly, but it's close enough. Basically just doing a bit of fixture modifying here and there, changing the gas cap here or there, and just sort of just trying to get my opinion. And I actually did this entire car build while in Discord, streaming on Discord. So if you guys want to help me build my next car, make sure to join the Discord, linked in the video description. And finally, in front of us, we have the all-new for 2000, the Toro GT 202. Alright guys, so like I said, the Toro GT202 is what we have finished in front of us in bright orange. There's no name for this color, it's just orange. That's fine. 460 horsepower on tap from a 6.6 liter, 6,500 RPM pushrod V8. What more do you want? What more could you ask for in a Ute? So I changed one thing after the fact. I did change the headlights. I made them into, I wanted to have that triple headlight set up as a Toro vehicle of the past, my other previous Toro Ute vehicle that I made. So this is just a modern interpretation of that. With a triple headlight setup, sealed beam headlights, I guess is what this is. So the weight distribution and the weight is still pretty bad. 3,600 pounds. It's pretty bad weight distribution, but it's a Ute. So what do you expect? All the weight's up front. Big engine, a short box. That it is what it is. So design, we've got the iconic triple headlight setup here, with a very similar grille to the old Toro GT muscle Ute, basically. Similar power bulge with some stripes down there. There's some lines sort of going through diagonally. Sort of, I don't know, just bring the whole front end together with one big main line there. We have a little bit of another line down here just to give a bit of a crease to the front. We've got a turret signal built in. I'll also change this off camera, so we have a turret signal built into another vent right here. Then we have a big open grill down at the bottom, which is probably functional. Who really knows? This is the 2000s after all, with like a front sort of lip as well. Side, pretty plain. We just have a big old GT202 badging on the sides. Simple turn signal with a little black stripe, and then just a door handle and a side skirt down there. Nothing fancy on the roof today. The back is another busy aspect of the car that we have, just massive in bright chrome letters, just like the previous generation, or the older generation. I'm not sure if it was the last one, but the 1970 version or whatever. We got Toro right there, big old chrome strip. In script, sure. A very small wing, just enough to have a wing on the back there. Pretty simple taillights with turret signals built in. I'm imagining there's a reverse light probably somewhere that I'll place right now, not because I just remembered. Yeah, so a turn signal, a third brake light up there, a reverse light right here, because why not? And we'll just add it right there. So reverse light, we got the Toro badge, we got dual massive exhausts that stick out a bit, and I hate how they stick out, but that's okay. With not really diffuser, but just some black plastic as well. This is the year 2000, nothing's too fancy. This probably looks a bit advanced for 2000, it's a little flashy, but I like it nonetheless. The final specs in the car, we can do 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. We can do 327 kilometers an hour, which is a fast car. And if you guys are wondering why it's called the GT202, this is because this car can do, I think, at least 200 miles an hour. I just want to double check actually right now. Let's double check here. 202 miles to kilometers, which is 325 kilometers an hour. So you can do pretty much 202. We had 202 before I changed the arrow, so it can do 202 still if I change it up a tiny bit. A little bit less. It'll do 202. That's what it just sounds cool. Sure, it sounds cool. It's like Jaguar. The XJ220 couldn't actually do 220. And this thing can actually do 202, but that's fine. What else? So the suspension's tuned, not really. It's very minorly tuned. It's mostly just a sport tune with a bit of lift and a bit of tweaking here and there. Gonna be oversteer city up into the high speeds, which is okay. And the final cost is right around $57,000, which again is a pretty reasonable cost. The cost is not bad. The only thing that is bad, though, is the service cost being $6,000 a year. That's over 10% of the car's purchase, or approximate cost, every single year. Crazy. I'm assuming it's every year, so yeah, that's not good. That's a very high service cost in any aspect. 8.4 miles to the gallon is not a lot either. So yeah, it's a fine car. We could save some weight doing some other stuff, adding, you know, instead of steel panels and whatnot. But I think the car is pretty good as it is. A little porky, but you know what? We can't always have super light race cars like we did in the last video. Also, check that one out. Link is in the description, probably. Sure. What we're going to do now is do a couple things in BeamNG. I want to do a drag strip first off. We're going to see if this thing can do some pretty good quarter-mile times, and I've got a feeling it's going to do some good times. So yeah, we'll do a drag strip, and we'll do probably a top speed test. I think that's all we really need to do, a drag strip and a top speed test. Nothing else really matters. So see you guys there in just 1 second. Okay guys, so we're here in BeamNG.Drive with the Toro GT202. Hopefully you can do 200 miles an hour. I mean, it can't, but that's okay. So we're at the drag strip here. This is the West Coast USA drag strip. We're just doing a time trial test track. We're going to see what this thing can do. So for reference, something like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, they can do it in around 12 or so seconds in the quarter mile, which sounds impressive. Honestly, by today's standards, that's still pretty impressive. Of course, you know, we also have 2000s technology and a big old V8 under the hood, in a car that costs surprisingly less than all of the cars I just mentioned, Lamborghini, Ferrari, etc. So we're going to restart now. We've got the diff locked, we've got ESC off, we don't need that. We're going to go in first person because we always do. And launch it, about 5,000 RPM, the second. And boy, does this thing just sound great. In third gear, 150 kilometers an hour. Pretty good gearing, actually. The gearing seems right for this car. And there we go. A 12.1 in a quarter mile. A 12.1. That's the first try. 12. We can do. We'll do one more try. We'll do one more try. We'll do it in third person. And sort of see. We'll launch it. Just at red line 6,500. A little bit of wheel spin. Short shifted just a little bit there. We could rev it out a bit longer. There we go. That was better. Come on. Can we get 12.1 again? Okay, 12.1. Consistent 12.1. I'll take it. I'll take a 12.1. A consistent 12. We'll just go free one for a second. So a consistent 12 on the brakes. And they are up to specs as well. They are actually pretty good with the driving. This is definitely the kind of car. I mean, we got the rear diff lock. That's probably why it drives like a complete animal. Oh wow, it does that. Yeah, it's definitely an animal. So I think we'll just jump into one more course, which is going to be, what are we doing? We'll go to free roam. We're going to go to, I think I'm going to grid small pure, and just sort of hopping in there and seeing just the top speed. If we can hit 300 kilometers an hour, my oh my, would this thing be insane. Like 300 kilometers, that's what, 180 or so miles an hour, which is still probably regardless the fastest ute. Like, I'm trying to think of any other American or Australian vehicles that can really go that fast. Like American non-supercars or Australian non-supercars that can go that fast. We're not gonna, we'll take ESC. We'll leave ESC on actually, and we'll just start in a second. No wheel spin there for us, and pan the camera up just a bit. Then we'll short shift a little bit higher once we get to the higher. Like we'll short shift once we get to the higher speed. So we're at once we get to 200, I think we'll start short shifting the 6th, the 5th, and 6th. A lot of power. It keeps pulling consistently. Even though in 6th gear, 4,500 RPM, we're still making good power. We're still going pretty fast. Like 300 kilometers an hour would be fantastic. It's still quite stable. It's wobbling just a tiny bit. It's wafting back and forth. 270, 275, 280. Come on. We gotta hit 300. We gotta hit, like, what are we doing here if we're not hitting 300? 285. It's gonna hit it. I'm confident. It's still quite controlled, and it's not really doing anything right now. It's tightened down. It's 299. Oh, are we gonna get it? Oh wow, it's squatting too. 300, and we're still going. It's still pulling. Actually, almost even stronger. 308, 310. If we can go 320, oh my, we're gonna max this thing out. 313. This is the actual speed we're looking at right here. The airspeed on the left. So we're at 315. This is where it starts hitting. This is the accuracy. So 315 is what we're topping out at. 315 kilometers an hour. We'll do full emergency stop, slam on the brakes. I clutched for a second, that's fine. This is full stop. In 6th gear still. I don't know how far that was because this is not car wow, I can't test it. But yeah, wow, that was pretty impressive, honestly. So just wanted to have a little bit of a shorter beam session, just sort of hanging out. Proving this car... Oh, well, take off ESC. What are we doing here? This car can do burnouts. Not really. It can do a brake stand, though. It can do donuts, a brake stand. What can it do? It does not do a brake stand. But, it does like to put the rubber down on the road. Just go wide tires. Massive tires. So, a similar quarter mile to a Ferrari or a Lamborghini at the time. A Ferrari, like, is the F430 out yet? I'm not even sure. Or the 430 in general. Lamborghini Diablo, this is as fast as a Lamborghini Diablo, pretty much, which is absolutely insane. I think we're going to end off here. The car actually turned out quite good in BeamNG.Drive. Like, with the triple headlights, it actually looks way better than what I thought, surprisingly. What if we turn them on? Look at that. What a menace. The triple headlight system, I love how the design looks. This is actually, like, I like this Ute as much as my old Ute, which I loved a lot. Make sure to check out the old Ute if you guys saw this one and haven't seen the old one. Check out the old one, or check out my other car, my ultralight car, which is like similar to this, very fast, but in a different way. So we're gonna end it off here. We're gonna have another video coming up tomorrow, so make sure to stay tuned for that. It's not automation, but it's gonna be a heck of a good video. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.